What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Coffee with Dudes. Today we get another solo episode. I'm just going to be talking about something that has I've been thinking about a little bit here recently. Marissa and I went to Park City, Utah this last weekend. It's just a beautiful place. If you've never been there, it's in the mountains. Like it's really high elevation. So I felt like I was kind of made me realize how out of shape that I've gotten because we would like walk up a flight of stairs and I was just out of breath completely. And so it was an amazing weekend. We go up there every Labor Day weekend to support Marissa's dad. He does a huge 75-mile bike race. It's absolutely crazy in the mountains, and it's like a really, really grueling race. So we always go and support him for that, and then spend the rest of the weekend up there. It's just an amazing place. We try to get some hiking in. The town of Park City is really cool, and so we go down there and do some fun stuff. If you've never gone there, it's a great place to go. Coming back though, I've just my body does not feel like it's in very good shape. I feel like, over the last year or so, definitely have gotten a lot more out of shape than I have been in a while. And not that I think there's a lot of good and bad things that go with that. Where I definitely used to. If you follow the podcast for long enough, I used to be somebody who was like extremely regimented, almost to the point of like stressing, actually to the point of stressing myself out. I was so worried about food, so worried about being on my exercise routine that I couldn't really enjoy life. So I think, this a little bit of it is, you get married, you get comfortable. Like, I'm very, very comfortable with Marissa, and we have an amazing relationship. And I think that that's helped me a lot to not stress about some of these things that I used to stress about. But that being said, like I do want to get my body back into a little bit better shape at least. I don't need to have a six pack or even be necessarily close to that, but I just want to feel good, be in good shape, be able to like the way I look. 'Cause sometimes I right now like got a little bit more of a gut than I've had in a while, and so what I wanted to just walk through today is some of the top things that we can all do, like if you're in the same boat as me, to get back on track with things, right? In some respect, I think it's so easy to want to just go from 0 to 100, right? We've talked about that many times on the podcast. You always like, I know for me, I always used to, if I would get off track, it was like, oh, I'm going to do like 10 times more than I was, it's trying to negate some of the other stuff. No, that never works. You always end up falling off again. And so what are some small things that I can do to just start moving them back in that right direction? Right. And I still want to have that balance in the sense of that, being able to have some wine, being able to eat pizza. But, that being said, definitely need to just put in place some different things, some different habits that are going to help just get in a little better shape, right? Start moving in that direction. And so first thing that I've always talked about, and this is like all just a good reminder for me, is just to meet yourself where you're at, right? Look at your current habits. How can you build on those? What are the things that maybe you can add in to small little habits to add in to like move back in the direction. And I think for me, one of the things that can be a little bit difficult for Marissa and I is my schedule. My schedule's a little bit different, so I never really know exactly when I'm going to be home, or if I have a later appointment, if I'm off. And so like throughout the week, we've kind of gotten a little bit farther away from eating in as much. Like we'll go get takeout a lot more. And so I think one of the things that we have talked about that we're going to start doing is just pre-making, like using Sundays as a few hours of Sunday just to pre-make some food for the week, right? Just kind of meal prep a little bit, get some things in place so that when we do have the opportunity to have meals together, we're not always going out and getting, wildflower, Chinese food or pizza, stuff like that, it's fine to get here and there. But when it constantly becomes a 2, 3, 4 times a week thing, that can be difficult to feel good, to stay in good shape. And so just pre-making, chicken, pre-making veggies, pre-making a salad, like these are some of the things that we're going to start doing to get ourselves moving in the right direction. I am pretty good with, the movement side of things. I do get a lot of, I make it a point to get a walk in the morning. I've gotten a little bit better with my workout routine. I got a gym membership like a month ago, and I've definitely been getting better workouts in by going to the gym at least 2, 3 times a week. And then the other times I work out in the house when I don't have as much time in the morning. So I've been getting better with that. I feel like my workouts are a little bit more intense. I'm getting a little bit more out of them. So I feel good there. Another thing that I want to start working on as well is sleep. I think that sleep has been hit or miss. We find ourselves sometimes drinking a little bit more wine throughout the week. So I think that's something that we've been trying to do a little bit. Let's just kind of keep the wine for more of the weekend time frame, and just have some tea at night. Get to bed at a little bit better time, even though we are pretty good at getting to bed at a good time and getting our 8 hours. It's just when you are having even just a little bit of wine, it can sometimes deter your sleep from getting as good a sleep as you possibly can. So that's something else. Some other things that that I think that I've been thinking about as well is like, and things that can help people who are trying to get back on track is just giving yourself grace, right? I think that this kind of goes back to what I was talking about before. Is it's easy to just put so much pressure on yourself and feel like you have to be perfect with things. And in reality, like, I think I have just a different viewpoint on everything now than I used to. And it's like, you know what? Like I used to think that I had to be in such good shape to like impress women, and like especially when I'm looking at finding a wife and doing all those things. And it's like, oh, it's like not even, they don't necessarily want that to see that either. Like, they want a healthy man who's in pretty good shape. But like, I think that a lot of times at a certain point when you're like in such good shape and you stress so much about it, you stop really impressing the women as much and you impress more dudes. Like dudes are like, wow, that guy's fucking jacked. Right. So I think that's a thing to understand too, is like what I'm kind of looking for is just being healthy, right? Being healthy, feeling good, and looking pretty good, right? Making sure that I look good for Marissa, and that it feels good to feel good. It also feels good to like what you like you see what you see in the mirror. And so I think some days I wake up and I'm like, oh, I look good, and then other days I wake up and I'm like, I look terrible, So, and that's a part of sometimes that a little bit of a titch of body dysmorphia that I've talked about, and that I don't know if ever goes away. And I think some of that can be a little bit good, where it does keep you from going like way off the guardrails, and it keeps me always moving and working out, and trying to eat quality foods throughout the week as much as I can. And so a lot of this for me is just going to be me continuing to move every day, me and then focusing on some different small things. Like I said, just starting to meal prep again throughout the week, making sure that I'm keeping just good, like quality foods around the house that I can go to when I am in a pinch, right? When I do need something quick. And so a lot of that for me, I generally have at least one smoothie a day. I just make some smoothie, keep some frozen fruit in there. I put some protein powder in it, chia seeds, flax seeds, some peanut butter, sometimes some Greek yogurt. Make sure it's a high protein smoothie that takes me like 2, 3, 4 minutes to make. And then I eat that, right? So when I'm in a pinch, I also like to keep some frozen veggies, frozen chicken in the freezer, so that if I know that if I have a bag of that, I got at least 3 meals that I can make. I keep some minute rice around. But then it's going to be Marissa and I just on Sundays for a few hours putting in, some fish, some chicken, prepping those for the week, putting in, a bunch of veggies. Like we love to make some veggies, pre-making some salad type things, so we can make a big salad and just kind of pour from that throughout the week for lunches and dinners, and kind of mix and match there. And then like just focusing on sleep a little bit more, just trying to get some better sleep. I've noticed that that's something that I hasn't been as consistent. I'll get like a really good sleep one night, and then maybe for the next 2 nights, I don't get the best sleep. And so I really want to make that a priority too, as just trying to get a little bit better consistent sleep, which I think is just going to be, having I like to have some sleepy time tea. We used to do that a lot, and I've kind of started getting back into that a little bit more. just having some tea at night, relaxing, just I think sometimes when we watch Netflix or shows at night, we can watch some of those more stressful shows later at night, and it can be more difficult to go to sleep, or your mind's kind of still working, or maybe your dreams are just so like weird. I know when we were watching From, if anybody's seen the show From, it's on MGM Plus, and it's a fantastic show. I think it was just finished the third season. It was a little while back. We're probably still out from the fourth season for a while, but it's like a scary show. And I know I had some of the craziest dreams when we were watching that show. And so I think that sometimes for us, like just kind of going away from maybe more of those serious shows, murder shows, all those different kinds of shows, and then like the end of the night, last 30 minutes, watching something that's a little bit like chiller and upbeat to go to bed and have a little bit better chance at getting better sleep. So hopefully this has been helpful for you guys to kind of get a little peek under the curtain of maybe some just small things that I'm going to do to get my body into a little bit better shape here over the next few months. And I'll keep you guys up to date on how things are going. If you have any other things that you like to do to get back on track, make sure you comment them here. I think this would be a good one if you do have somebody who's trying to get in better shape. Could be a good one to share with them. We always just ask from you guys. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our future episodes that we drop every single week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then if you have an episode that you really enjoy that you think somebody in your life could benefit from, just share it with them. But we do appreciate you every single day and week watching, listening to the pod. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day and week. And I'll be talking to you soon.